It was reported to us, as it has been in the past, that prior outages have affected the equipment of the radio station equipment. And so we were advised not to move forward to use the radio station equipment on these generators, and to make sure that we ensured that we had permanent power so that our students could use the radio station permanently moving forward. Otherwise, we did not have a confirm or a deny as to whether it was actually safe to use it. And so the district, we moved forward with the expertise that we received, saying that we would pause the radio station, we would pause the use of the equipment until we ensured we had permanent power so our students can use the station.
The radio station was already offline.
The radio station was not offline because of electrical issue. The radio station was offline because the person chose to take it offline, and then unfortunately the electricity being honest, prior to there was an issue where the radio station was off a couple of days. That did not come from the communications department that runs the radio station. That was a decision made within that program. So ask those questions. You can ask those questions of Principal Norrington, and you can get the answers from the teacher regarding what happened with that shutdown. And I assure you, the district did not shut down the radio station.
The district takes the contract. It's not the principal that writes the contract, right?
There is no contract for additional funding for the radio station. And I'll be absolutely transparent with you. I don't want to gaslight the situation, but I can tell you exactly what happened. I did not want to get personal here because this impacts one person, but it seems that there's a lot of people interested. So we have contracts with all of our teachers to perform the duties related to their programs. When a teacher or any staff member for that matter would like to perform duties with extra hours, they have to have pre-approval to work the extra hours, and we have to set up a budget to pay for the extra hours. There was no budget set up to pay for any extra hours for any of the duties related to the radio station. So when there was an ask that extra hours be paid, there wasn't any previous conversations about creating a budget to pay extra hours or approving extra hours. So when a staff member asked that extra hours be paid, we didn't have a budget to pay those hours, and we had to work those things out. They have now been worked out, is my understanding, and there is not an issue with the person being paid for their hours, but there is an ask that in the future, the hours be agreed upon prior to a time card being submitted. So those of you who believe that someone was not paid per their contract, that is not true. The contract was paid out appropriately. The additional hours were not previously agreed to, but that has also been worked out. And yes, I do believe that had something to do with the radio station going off the air. But in all fairness to the district officials, we can't be expected to have a budget in place for something we haven't previously agreed to. I apologize for that, and I understand why someone took that action, but I want to be sure that the district did not take that action, and as soon as we were made aware, we were able to have some conversations to get that issue addressed, and there is now an agreement that there will not be hours worked without prior approval. So that is the entire story related to what happened with the radio station prior to the electrical failure. I hope that helps. I want everyone in the room to understand that we understand the gym that we have here at El Cerrito and across our El Cerrito original schools. It is not our intention to impact effective programs, but sometimes problems arise. We need to problem solve together, address them, and then move forward productively for our students in our programs. And that is what we are dedicated to doing. So I hope that helps. We want to take the next question from Zoom now.
Dr. Moses, can we take one more question from a student?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. Yay!
a student in this district. I should be able to take that class. Why are you cutting it off for me halfway through the school year so you can move it to some different school or say, oh, we don't have the money, when you got brand new phones and you can't afford to pay my teacher their salary? What's that about?
It sounds like your question is about the radio station being shared by other schools. I want to capture your question because it sounded like a statement, and I don't want to miss an opportunity to give you the answer. Can you clarify his question, please? Thank you.
When we brought up the fact that the radio station is not operating, your response was, it's a district radio station. It's located here. I'm a student in this district, so I should be able to take that class. And like I said, everyone said, all the other power's working here, and so why should we not be able to power the stuff in the radio station? It's perfectly fine. That's just a stupid excuse you guys are making.
Fancy TV.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. Let me clarify. The budget for the radio station lives in the communications department. The purpose of the radio station is to provide additional communication across the district, across our cities. When I say that it's a district radio station, what I'm referring to is the fact that the purpose of the radio station is to serve the district. We have other high schools that are also working to build communications programs, and they also will have access to the radio station. So I'm not trying to say that we're trying to limit your access to the radio station. I'm saying we're trying to grow the program. The radio station has been here for at least 40 years, maybe longer, and it's a valuable asset to not only the school, but also the community. But the budget for the radio station does not live in the school. The budget for the radio station lives in the communications department, which I believe is why there are sometimes miscommunications, because although it's felt as if the radio station belongs to El Cerrito, decisions related to the radio station belongs to the comms department, not the school. So I think what we need to figure out is how we can get more clarity on how the radio station is serving our community, what the intent of the radio station across our district is. We absolutely want for you to have access and learn about the radio station through our CTE programs. The reason why there's a class is because the College Career and Technical Education Department created one. And so we'd like that opportunity to extend beyond this school as well, since it is operated by the district. I'm not trying to slight El Cerrito. We appreciate your dedication to the program, and we look forward to that time when our electrical issues are permanently resolved so that the radio station can be back on the air and serving our community. I hope that
The
answers
radio
your question.
station serve a great community announcement for everybody to attend these meetings, to attend board meetings, for everybody to know throughout the district, not just El Cerrito High.
That is exactly what started the conversation by saying it's an asset to the entire community. It's also something that we're working towards an opportunity to grow, but unfortunately, until the electricity is restored, we aren't going to be able to realize any of that. So I appreciate your comments.
The
We're going to go
expenses
to
were
a
not
question
new.
from
The
the
expenses were
Google
not
form.
new. Same expenses for 40
And we're
years.
at 7:30, but I want to appreciate your time since we had the delay, and I want to make sure we have a few more questions from the audience if there are more. Let's at least take one of these questions from Zoom. A lot of these are about some of the areas that we've already covered, and I'm trying to figure out how to answer. Let's go up. Let's take another one from the audience, because as I scroll through the questions that are coming in through the Google form, they're really reiterating some of the things we already spoke about. We will look through those and see if there are any that didn't get answered and send an answer to the community, but we want to continue with a few more questions here. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I hope most parents and students who are here get a chance to ask questions, since we do have a large forum.
My questions, and I'm not really expecting all of them to be answered today, but maybe take a note and they can be answered at another time. My questions and comments are around racism in this district. I'm an alumna of this district, I'm a parent of this district. So I've been around a long time, been around a lot of superintendents from the 90s, now up to now. No, before the 90s, 80s. Yeah, that's how I'm telling my age. In any case, it seems like when racist incidents hit the news, the one at Pinole Valley, 2023 was the one at Richmond High, we as a district, let's do something. We have an anti-racism policy, we have other things. If you know me, I've been at 3 different schools with my child in this district. I've been on every single APAC. Sometimes I go to the ASAC, sometimes they need those meetings in work. One of the things I continually called out, including to Duffy, Duffy and Hurst, is the rampant racist slurs in this district. If you don't take it seriously, Monday is anti-black, today is anti-Asian, it's black folks calling other folks, Latinx folks calling other folks, white folks calling other stuff. These are students. We don't do anything. Teachers hear it. I think they may be exhausted. There's nothing is done. It gets wind in the press, and then it's like, let's do something. So these are my questions. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes. What percentage of students know and have an understanding of the anti-racism policy? It's great that we have one, but if it's just not a policy that's not put into practice, it's just a policy. So for me, it's always about implementation of public policy. In what ways are anti-racism practices being implemented at all campuses? Because when I heard the statement about Pinole Valley that was in the news, the athletes will just review the code of conduct. What? That's abhorrent. And then I saw a follow-up. At Richmond High, someone calling a teacher the N-word was out of pocket. That person's response wasn't abhorrent, but that's happening all the time. So my questions, what percentage of students know of and have an understanding of the anti-racism policy? It should be something that every student, K through 12, knows and understands. In what ways are anti-racism practices being implemented at all campuses? How are the voices of students, especially those that reported racist slurs, being incorporated into future implementation practices for the 25-26 school year? And those are just my questions. Again, I applaud the district for doing something, but if you see me at school sites, I've always asked, what are we gonna do? Why should my child have to hear the N-word? And it's not just the N-I-G-G-A, it's the hard ER. We don't do anything. When I brought this up to Hurst, because he had a meeting with community members about Richmond High, what did he say? We put posters up. And the district personnel who was with him that day was excited. So I left it alone. If you're excited about posters, in 2023, how many of y'all students are looking at posters? Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for the question. I'm going to try to give you the general answer regarding what the district is doing about slurs on campus. I first want to say that we implemented the services of Dr. Rajazar to train first our district leaders, so that our district leaders are better equipped to work with their school site staff in order to address issues of racialized harm. Our school board worked really hard to pass an anti-slur policy. The anti-slur policy was passed in December. However, what we've found is that our response to how we manage racialized harm and slurs that happen on campus are really focused on a teaching effort right now. The reality is, when it comes to progressive discipline or a discipline matrix to address how we work with students who are repeat offenders of the slur policy, the education code does not have a clear pathway to progressive discipline to address, what they, in essence, racialized harm or name calling or slurs. So that ed code that allows us to issue strict discipline related to behaviors but also what I would call discipline. Oh gosh. Not progressive discipline. When you change behavior, I'm sorry.
Positive discipline.
Positive behavior modification. Yeah. Those are the areas in which we're trying to focus on, because if students know better, they do better. We're finding that the discipline part of it is a little bit more tricky. We're working on that in the governance committee right now. Our district actually has a policy on how not only to train our teachers, but also how to train our students. But what we found is we can provide all the training and education, but when the actions are happening, if we don't have a response in terms of really addressing the behavior, then those who are repeat offenders that may not be enough. I'm giving you just really the challenges of this, that we recognize as a problem. We have our positive school climate teams that are addressing this as well. We have an entire department dedicated to positive school climate, and we're trying a multi-pronged approach to addressing it, but it's not a simple thing. It's historically been very difficult to address, and we're finding that even in this date and time, we're having some challenges. However, we do believe that our communities are sensitive to that, and we count on our parents, our community members, and our staff not to turn a blind eye when these things are happening. Because if you see it happening and we're addressing it as it's happening, we know that that's going to have an impact on the system. So I'll say more to come on that as we work in our governance team in order to find more concrete ways we can hold accountability and continue the training and the education around this area. Because we have realized as a district that the racialized harm, the impact of those issues, it does great harm to our students. So I think I'd just say, please continue to attend those meetings, please give your input, and continue to support our school sites as we're trying to eradicate those behaviors. And I think we have time for 2 more. Ms. Laurie?
Dr. Moses, if you can just address for all of these folks who are here, there's no way we're going to be able to answer all these questions.
Yes.
Could you please address how we will be answering the questions?
Yes. So we do have a plan. This is our 3rd town hall meeting, and we have recorded all of them. We do have a plan to make all of the recordings available, as well as trying to ensure that we've gone through the list of questions. The number of questions we've received across the 3 town halls is 96. Many of those questions are redundant, and so we're trying to truncate the questions so that we can provide an FAQ that we can also post along with the videos in order to ensure that you have a place where you can read questions and answers. But I also just want to say that we're committed to continuing this kind of format, and I know that all of our educational leaders are open to feedback and conversation, because it is in our best interest and the best interest of our children that we do better and that we do better together.
People face to face, can we please go overtime?
We will post those on the website. We talked about a dedicated page for the town halls where you can go to the page and you can see the videos of the FAQ. I have to share that we're a little bit behind. We expected to have that done now. I don't want to make this personal, but for the last 4 weeks I have been in and out dealing with a personal matter. And so that has kind of slowed things down, because the town hall is my baby. And I've taken a lot of time to put it together. So I'm a little late getting that webpage together, but it is going to happen, and as soon as it does, we'll get the information out in the newsletter, giving you the link to that page.
Can you extend the meeting?
My name is Jenny Mangle. I'm the parent here at El Cerrito High, and just wanted to really shout out to all the parents who are here, all the teachers who are here, all the students who are here, and to our district staff, because we all have long days, and it's Monday. In your opening, it was fantastic. Totally appreciated the framing of the fact that we are in a financial mess. We all have to tighten up. Totally get that. I really loved the framing that we've got. It sounded like you said we have enough money for our core programs in the district. I'm curious, how does the district think of what is core and what is extra? Because I know for some students, those extra things are the things that actually are the things that bring kids to school. So if you could just explain that, that would be really helpful for the parents who are trying to figure out then where do we put our energy and what are the extra things that we have to try to support.
Thank you. I really appreciate that question. It gives me an opportunity to talk to you about some of the grants that our district we're fortunate enough to have. A lot of the supplemental programs that we have, for example, after-school programs. The after-school programs are largely funded, in fact, totally funded by grants that we get from both the state government, local government, and the federal government. So when we say we have a budget deficit and we're trying to address our fiscal solvency, the programs that are paid by grants aren't impacted as long as the grants are continuing. So some of the things that you see happening at your schools that have to do with after-school program, those don't hit our general fund, so there isn't an issue continuing those as long as the grant funds continue. Programs like our college and